Just letting them know that we are good to go. Oh, he has been waiting patiently for our next series. We are getting into our second series of the night. We're going to be following Everness in this bracket, but we'll see if he can keep on going. We have had some upsets already. E-Legacy taking a game over Infansen. Valhalla 2-0ing Jim Rising. Protoss really popping off today. Can they pop off even more? Personally, I hope not, but we'll see. we shall see. Oh. Alright, here we go, because spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have El Patito himself, the CranKy Duckling himself, representing our very own team. We have the Peruvian Zerg player. He is purple. It is Ryu. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the other Peruvian player. He just took down Cosmos in a 2-0 series. It's the teal Protoss player representing Unidos por el Vicio. It is Everness. Here we go. Again, people who are tuning in for the first time should recognize the name Ryu. He was in the DreamHack Latin American main event. He has made it to the top 4 in the past, but unfortunately this season he was knocked out in the group stage by Cham. Not a bad player to get knocked down by, but again, kind of a rough series nonetheless. We were watching in the chat on the main stream. Meanwhile, we have a Gate Forge opener from Everness, so looking to throw down some cannons. So it was a Gate Forge, which means it's a more macro or a later kind of cannon rush. Here, it's only designed to cancel the natural. It is not designed to go on further than here. As the wall is being set up, oh, full wall off in the end. Cannons are going to be thrown down here. This is kind of like this should be a macro-oriented cannon rush, but we'll see how hard Everness ends up committing here, as so far the pylon finishes up and cannons are going to be thrown down. Meanwhile, back at home, full wall off, Cybercore is thrown down, Everness is looking to expand, and we should see a cancel on this hatchery. Oh, there we go. Literally last second there from Ryu, forced to cancel, takes his third base instead, and Everness, the only thing this cost him is 1 pylon and 1 cannon. As we can see here, minerals lost are pretty even here between our two players. Even cancels the cannon at the end. You love to see it. Everness being as efficient as possible. He is looking to maybe cannon rush the third base, but it isn't worth it. It's a little bit too late. Lings are already coming out. Spawning pool is done as well. Everness goes back home, and this is a really nice start to the game. Again, very important to distinguish the difference between a Forge first and a Gate Forge first. Gate Forge, I think Starduck was the first to coin the term macro cannon rush, which is essentially what we just saw. And because of that, Everness is going to be ahead economically. Like, we basically still have 1 base economy for Ryu. Finally, his natural gets up and running. He's been droning up as best he can. And Everness behind this, what we typically see from a cannon rush is a Stargate follow-up. So far, this hasn't been scouted. Ryu did sneak around the back of the main, and he is going to be diving into the main base to have a look at where that pylon is. Unfortunately for Ryu, the Stargate is in the natural, but he should be able to double back and eventually scout this. Oh, as we even have a second pylon in the natural base. So Everness was actually concerned about a counterattack. If 1 pylon dies, he dies. So he throws down a second pylon to reinforce this wall in this position. So Everness playing this safe, but because he's playing it safe, it means that even 1 Ling can scout the tech. There's a give and take to it. So an Oracle is going to be coming out across the map. Now Ryu knows about the Stargate. He immediately starts some spores. 1 in the main base, 1 at the third. His natural is exposed, but that is where the queens are. And there we go. The third spore is being thrown down as well. As the Oracle is going to head on over towards that main base. It could still get a couple of probe kills, a couple of worker kills, sorry, as it does 1, 2 drones, not bad. Only loses a little bit of hull damage or a little bit of HP. Is able to back off. And I like this, but I don't. Everness is hard switching into ground toss, which is really cool, but he never killed the Overlord. The Overlord has been here the entire game. There's no anti-air, there's no Stalker, there's no Void Ray, there is nothing, so this one Overlord is going to just re-scout and see everything. This Stalker is a little bit too late. This is a mistake from Everness, and now Ryu knows that he needs roaches. Roach Warren is already on the way. We can see that it's going to be charged. What's important is that Ryu should be able to confirm that the gases at the natural weren't taken. So because of that, he can deduce that it's going to be charged. And this is an all-in. 2 base all-in. Let's go. Everness throwing down 7 gates to join his 1. So 8 gate charge all-in is on the way. And Ryu has to be careful not to overdrone. He does have eyes at both their locations, so he knows that it's a 2 base all-in 100%, but he hasn't seen the gateway explosion, so he doesn't know for certain how committed this is, and this is scary because Ryu just made a wave of lings. Oh boy. He's also a little bit supply blocked. Here we go. The Overlords are about to finish up. He needs to stop droning. He needs to be finished with droning. He is fully saturated on 2 bases. He has 4 gases. This is more than enough. He's up to 60 workers right now. This is maybe too much. He needs, oh no, he's making more drones. Papi, stop. We need roaches. We need nothing but roaches. Here we go. The War Prism is coming across the map. Roaches are on the way. This does barely get scouted by this spotter Ling, as the Ling gets across the map and is gonna, again, just confirm the 2 bases. But is Ryu gonna have enough? Looking at the units tab, we have 8 roaches right now, 7 more on the way. It looks like it should just barely be enough. No spine crawlers. Ryu thought it was glaives. He's here ready to deny the shade. He doesn't know that it's charged, but it may not matter. Oh boy. Here we go, as we have another warp in here for Everness. Is supply blocked? No, Everness. Oh, he throws out 2 more pylons. This is disastrous. When you're going for a 2 base all-in, you cannot afford to be supply blocked. You have to spend your money. And just like that, there are enough roaches or enough queens. There are not enough zealots here. Ryu deflects the push. He's still scouting and confirming that there is no 3rd base. And Everness, his all-in has failed. His time has come and gone. Ooh. And now he's forced to back off. He's forced to clean up these Lings. He has to expand at this point. He knows that he's going to try to, but Lings are here to stop him. Oh. And now Ryu knows. He knows that a 3rd is on the way. Oh, God. And I love that Ryu is doubling down on roaches, by the way. We have Burrow, we have Tunneling Claws, we have +1 as well. Ryu just plans to hold down that R key and just win the game as he skyrockets in supply. Everness from here has to try and take drastic actions. Immortals are okay, Disruptors are better. Because of how many roaches there are, and he sees them coming across the map. It may be too late. Like, there is an army here. It can do okay against what Ryu has, but eventually it will fall as Ryu's about to recover. That doesn't have too much here because the rest of his army is coming across the map. Oh my god, the queens are coming as well. Oh, the highway. Let's go. Oh my god, the creep highway is here. Who said that queen walks were dead? Nah, mate. They're alive. They're alive in Latin America. We even have a couple of overseers just in case there are DTs. The first immortal does come out, which is great for Everness, but the zealots are just getting melted away. The archons are exposed. They're being focused on one after the other. The immortal is dishing out a lot of damage, and we have a second immortal coming out, but at this point it is too little too late. The all-in had to work, and trying to pivot from there just wasn't gonna happen. Roaches, they sort of step forward. Up, up, up. And again, Everness never planned the game to last this long. GG gets called, and Ryu takes game 1. GG. Ryu didn't necessarily know exactly what was coming his way, but he knew he needed roaches. I was worried that 60 drones was going to be too much, that he overdroned, but he overdroned and Everness got supply blocked. So it worked out. It worked out in the end. GG. Oh boy. And yeah, we'll see where this takes us. Overall, I really liked the ideas from Everness. If you remember, he started with a cannon rush, didn't overcommit, forced to cancel out the natural, switched into Stargate, and I liked the switch into charge all in, but he didn't deal with the Overlord. Everything was getting scouted. He didn't even, like, Ryu didn't even have to try to scout to see what was happening. That was the problem. If you're gonna do something like that, you need to, again, kind of force your opponent to second guess themselves and to keep them guessing and to keep them in the dark as well. That's why going for a Void Ray or a Stalker is almost essential to deny that scouting. So, yeah. Everness lacking a little bit in that aspect, but hopefully he can tighten things up as we get into game number 2. Oh. Here we go. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Pride of Altares ALE, we have our Patito himself representing one of the best teams out there, the CranKy Ducklings. We have the Peruvian Zerg player himself. He is purple. It is Ryu, the Street Fighter. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Pride of Altares ALE, we have the Peruvian Protoss player. He is teal, representing Unidos por el Vicio. It is Everness. I love saying that team name. It's so good. For those wondering, and for those who do not speak Spanish, this does directly translate to united from our vices, which is kind of like, you know, we are brought together by... Vices can sometimes be a negative thing, but I'm pretty sure it's meant to be united for like our passion for the game, for StarCraft. Yeah, I just like saying it. Even though I think vices are supposed to be like kind of like your weakness, or like something that can be exploited technically, but it's fine, don't worry about it. It's fine. As we do see a probe scout from Everness forces the unnatural natural out of Ryu, so making things a little bit awkward there. And yeah, we'll see where things go from here. No cannon rush, no forge from Everness. Pretty standard openers from both of our players. I was kind of expecting maybe an earlier pull timing from Ryu, or maybe the gold base, but none of that yet. What we should say though is that we are on Pride of Altares, you know, one of the more unusual maps in the map pool. So I hope we do get something different to take advantage of the aspects of this map, like your gold bases, or like how long it is, you know, the dead air being utilized. I wouldn't be opposed to Everness committing more to Skytos, but he's in a really rough position. For those wondering, this is more of like a David versus Goliath sort of thing. Ryu is one of the best players in Latin America. Everness is more of an amateur player. So you have to do something different and something special to take down a player like Ryu. That's why I like the all-in. Like, that's why I like the cannon rush. Like, this is what you need to do to like punch up, you know? And this is why I love that Everness is doing something different again. But the wall is not a wall. The slowlings are gonna walk in. No! Ryu is gonna get a free scout. He sees the robo first. Ay. Not like this. If you were here for our previous series, robo first usually means a fast robotics bay, and in this matchup, it should be for disruptor drops. Everness may mix things up with a Colossus drop. That can be a lot of fun. Regardless, this should be for a fast robotics bay, and Ryu scouts everything. Feels bad, man. So because he got scouted, we'll see. Nope. I was gonna say, we'll see if Everness tries to course correct and going to something different, like maybe like a soul train with like fast immortals or something like that. But no, he's committed. He goes for the robotics bay. So he's still going to be going for the same strategy. But again, this was scouted by Ryu, and seeing a robo first can only mean one thing. So Ryu knows 100% what's happening. We already have a Roach Warren on the way. We should be seeing Creep connecting all the bases as well, so we can maneuver between them. He's going for Pneumatized Carapace. In a couple of seconds, he's going to go in for a double scout, for a follow-up scout to confirm what Everness is doing. And there we go. Overlord is running on in. And this is beautifully timed. It will confirm, you did go for a Robotic Spay. You are researching Warp Prison Speed as well. He saw everything. Again, this all leads towards Disruptor drops, but Everness is a unique player, and he is playing off meta, going for Colossus drops instead. So this is going to be a little bit unexpected, which is a good thing, but I don't know how good it is. Colossus drops are great for killing workers. That's kind of it though. Like, they're not amazing against roaches, and we are going to get a roach army. That's why Disruptor drops are that much more popular, because after you deal economic damage, then they can be at home to defend against the roach counterattack. Colossus, not really. You know, it's just not as good. It does require less micro and less control, but there we go. This makes a lot more sense. Goes for one Colossus, then goes for the Disruptors. So he's gonna have his cake and try and eat it too. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Oh, as the Colossus is going across the map. Oh. And we'll see how much damage he can get done. Like, Ryu's going to try and keep up with it with what little units he has. But surprise, it's not a War Prisoner, it's not a Disruptor, it is a Colossus instead. Gets a couple of swipes off, but the Queen's already in position to deny him entry into the main base. So far, the Colossus has done nothing. Absolutely nothing. I think he killed like a Ling. 4 Lings, 2 of them were scouting earlier, so the Colossus has killed 2 Lings so far. Gonna try and get into the main base. Gonna try and sneak in, but yeah, no. Oh my god! War Prism takes a couple. Oh, sorry, the Observer actually gets focused down as well. Nicely done by Ryu. And I don't like this. So Everness made 1 Disruptor, and now he's going into Extended Thermal Lance. What is happening? And he's making Immortals. The Immortals make sense. Extended Thermal Lance doesn't make sense unless you're making more Colossus, but this gets scouted. Oh my god. Ryu, how does he do it? He goes in, he sees that the Robotics Bay is researching again, and he already has speed, so it has to be for Extended Thermal Lance. So now Ryu knows that it is going to be a commitment into Colossus. Meanwhile, the Roach Army's on the way. We do see Hydra's on the way as well. Looks like Ryu wants to go into a Hydra Lurker Viper if the game goes on that long, but Everness is moving out now, but he just doesn't really have a lot of buffer for his army. He does have a lot of force field potential, but we have Ravagers to deal with those force fields. Uh-oh. First Nova gets baited out. There is only 1 Nova with this army, so Everness has to be very careful with his army positioning. He doesn't want to go too far into creep. He's going to get zoned out for the time being. Ryu expanding, taking 4th base behind this, droning on up. We have a Viper on the way. He teched up all the way into an Infestation Pit, all the way into Hive. What a madman. And Vipers just hard counter this completely. They shut down Colossus, they shut down Disruptors, they shut down Immortals, and we just don't have a Twilight Council. What does that mean? That means we just don't have a good, like, secondary army. We don't have Charge for Chargeless, we don't have Blink for the Stalkers. Like, Everness is putting all of his eggs in his Robo units. Meanwhile, we do have a little bit of a roach run by here at the 3rd base, denying all this mining. At the same time, the main army is forced forward. Everness doesn't want to turn around. Do we see a recall? We do not. Instead, we have a warping back at home, but Everness is supply blocked. No! It's always the supply block. Not like this. Everness is going to try and push himself in here. He's going to eventually clean up all these roaches. But at the same time, in comes that main Roach army. Ooh, he takes out one Colossus immediately. We do have one Nova. Ooh, and it will get a half decent connection. Not bad. But in come those Vipers, and now everything is going to get yoinked. Colossus, Disruptor, Immortal, Immortal. There we go. And what is there left to defend? We have Blinkless Stalkers. We have one Colossus. We don't have any more Vipers, so that one Colossus is going to do fairly well for himself. But the Roaches are just stutter stepping forward. They're encroaching on the army. We get a force around on all of these Stalkers. There is no way out. And there's just too much Zerg. GG gets called. Ryu takes game 2 and the series. Ugh. GG, well played to Ryu. Again, always very nice scouting from Ryu. Both games he was able to confirm and see everything that his opponent was doing, and Everness just couldn't stop it. You know, he even had a couple of Stalkers there in his main to try and deny the Overlord, but alas, it did not happen. Ryu, because of his scouting, he was able to correctly identify what his opponent was doing and respond in kind, going all the way up into Vipers. The way that he did was really smart, and it worked really well for him. GG. GG.